I begin? So I was perusing TikTok and I came across a channel, and there was a lady that refers to herself as a medium, and she was talking about that she's extremely ethical when it comes to her practices and when she gives readings. And she had mentioned that for her, she does not believe that it's possible for people to connect to passed on loved ones, passed on anyone right after they pass. And whenever she sees videos or anybody posting things online, especially about celebrities right after they pass, that she believes that it's just like, don't take it seriously, just literally go the other way, just don't, like, it's not real. And again, saying that she's big on ethics. So I at first was not really in agreement with what she had said. Then I had to think about it for a second. And I remember seeing a lot of readings in the past and throughout my journey where, initially when I was watching a lot of these spiritual readings and readings on mediums and all different types of gifts that people have, tarot readings, all kinds of things, that whenever I'd watch a celebrity reading, especially one where someone had just announced that someone had passed away, a celebrity or someone that has notoriety or someone in the public eye had passed away, that they would do readings on them and they would always turn out to be very accurate. And then I had given it a second thought and I was like, yeah, they're kind of reading the energy around them and not really reading them. So I believe that that's what she meant, that she's talking about actually connecting with the spirit. And there is a gentleman's page that I found recently that goes by Cash Peters. His channel that he does his readings on is called Enlightened Being. And he has a separate channel that he does, I guess, more, what would you call it? I don't know what category it would be, but it's more, I guess, what's in the news now type of readings. I don't even think he refers to them as readings. I believe he calls himself an energy empath. So he's able to pick up on the energy of people after they transition. And with his ethics and morals, he does not believe in doing any sort of energy readings on people who have transitioned recently. He said out of respect for their families and their loved ones. But in some cases, when it's someone who maybe it's been a while since they passed, or maybe there's some sort of, I don't know, controversy, he had some kind of stipulation as to where he makes certain exceptions. But again, he's not really reading the person. He reads the energy surrounding their transition specifically. And he draws pictures that are reflective of the images that he's getting about their transition and perhaps how they felt and what they were going through and their contemplative states and everything before they join what he calls, and many spiritual people call, the collective consciousness. So God. Not necessarily referring to God as an individual. Sometimes the way that we kind of reference God, it's by not just saying him, because in the English language, if you don't know if something's male or female, you automatically divert to male or masculine. But just considering God a consciousness and not an actual being, so to speak. There's a lot of people who have had I'd say we'll call them, yes, enlightened beings. There's a lot of people who have had spiritual awakenings, whether it be through substances, through many different means of becoming enlightened, and they refer to it as consciousness as well. Through my journey, have I referred to it as consciousness? I think with my experiences, I believe that there is a certain level of consciousness that people arrive to, and there can be people that are on the same, for argument's sake, wavelength in terms of consciousness, where, they talk about 3D and the 5D. I think that when you are connected to certain realms, that there is sort of like a joining of, or an exchange that you can meet people on that level, so to speak, just like you would in the 3D, where it's like someone might have a certain level of education or knowledge about a subject, and you can have a conversation because you both have that level of knowledge or understanding. So, back to my original point with finding her live, and basically what she again was saying, that you can't connect to someone as they've passed. Now, my, not, I wouldn't say personal experience, but stories that I have heard, and somewhat personal experience when I was thinking about my experiences of experiencing people's energy or things that I have experienced in ways of dreams or precognition, or just I don't even know what the term is. It's kind of like getting a visual of something that happens. The best thing, oh, what's actually being projected, I keep saying projected because at this point in time, like, I don't know, just the way that everything feels, it feels like more like a projection because it feels like it's forced, versus the way that I used to channel things, which was kind of more easing me into it. It wasn't like someone was like, hey, it was this kind of like, hey, here you go. So, yeah, the way it was just being projected onto me was like the television show That's So Raven. I have never watched it before, but I've always seen like little gifs and different things like that, little memes and stuff about the fact that she would kind of see into the future for a split second and then be like yanked back out of it. And when I would get images in that way, it wasn't so I don't know what other word to use, but violent. It just seems like very jerkish, like kind of like out of nowhere, you're just there and all of a sudden it's like flash and then flash out. And it wasn't really that serious. I've had maybe one or two experiences like that, but again, it just, I guess because it's for entertainment purposes, they kind of make it a little more dramatic, but my experience wasn't that dramatic. Um, but I'm getting a little bit off track here. What I was thinking about was the fact that with the experiences that I've had and have heard about, I have not really connected with anyone that just recently deceased, as far as I know. Um, I don't know that they're recently deceased if I have. Um, but in terms of like familial gifts, I do know that in my family, there are relatives who have been able to experience, not have been able to, but have experienced as a part of their spiritual gifts, connecting to people that have passed. Either they've already passed, like in the recent past, meaning like within hours, within minutes, the night before. Maybe I think even maybe sometimes like as they've transitioned. And that kind of got me to thinking as to whether or not when you pass away, if you're actually, if there's a point where your consciousness has left you and it's just your physical body that's still like, your heart might be beating, etc. But maybe your consciousness has left you and joined maybe the global consciousness. I don't think it happens that exact way, because thinking back again on that gentleman, Cash Peters, when he was showing his transition pictures and doing his displaying his energy work, it kind of, not kind of, but a lot of it resonated with what my personal beliefs were and how I interpreted things. So it made me feel like, okay, there's more people out there who are experiencing it kind of the same way or seeing it the same way. And the fact that he's actually experiencing it that way makes me believe that, okay, I think I'm on the right path with what I'm thinking or what I'm sensing or how I'm interpreting things. So when the lady I saw on TikTok had said that you can't connect to people like right as they've passed or be like right when they pass, that is not possible. Again, I'm not too clear on whether or not she was just only speaking about celebrities, because she was kind of making a point that people use that for people to, get attention to their videos and things like that. But having heard stories and knowing about people in my family, knowing that, they would be saying goodbye to people before the news actually got out that the person had passed away, or before some people were even aware of the fact that the person had passed away. That lets me know that if that's the way that she was thinking, that it's not possible to connect with it, then maybe it's just some gifts that she hasn't experienced. I'm not sure. Because I'm not really too sure where a lot of people get their information from. I know for myself in my journey, a lot of it has just been watching videos, reading books, listening to other people's experiences, connecting to my ancestors and my spirit guides, praying to God, trying to get answers, and then getting downloads, and talking to family members and things like that, and getting information that way. It hasn't really been something where you just pick up a book and you read from A to Z and this is how it works. So yeah, I guess, maybe it just hasn't been her experience, but just something in terms of like continuing to share my journey. I still haven't gotten back into reading any cards. I am being strongly guided to. I recently had a reading. It was my second reading. I'm going to be posting about that as well. But there was some guidance in there, strongly encouraging me to get back into readings and I guess, exploring my other gifts. But the season that I'm going through right now has been extremely difficult, extremely difficult. It's hard to connect to anything that I'm familiar with. So, and it doesn't feel good. So it's a huge deterrent from really going back into that. And when you don't feel familiar energy, that's when you kind of get to the point where you're like, I'm not sure if this is really something that I'm supposed to be connecting to, or who am I connecting to, or what am I connecting to? And a lot of people who have had a lot more experience, they're, I guess, maybe much more open, or maybe we don't have the same type of gifts, or maybe our gifts are at different levels or something like that. So I'd say even like with the physical symptoms and the level of sensitivity that I'm experiencing, it also is a deterrent, because it's almost like when this first started, it's almost like I would feel like electric shocks in my body when I was like connecting. So obviously, if you're in pain, you're not really going to be wanting to do that and, be like, hey, let me hit record and, do a video, or let me open myself up to the general public or anyone who wants to get a reading, and, just do something like that when you're getting physical symptoms from it. So I have observed other people who do have, mediumship gifts or spiritual gifts, intuitive gifts. And I guess it would be, is it clairsentient, I think, when you can feel touches or feel things. I don't really remember all the terms by heart, but you can oftentimes feel, let's say if you're connecting to whatever energy that you're connecting to, and I just refer to it as energy because, you can say spirit or spirits, whichever you're connecting to, or however many you're connecting to. But yeah, my mind is just kind of trailing off into that direction as well, about leaving yourself open to other people's family members and things like that. And it's not to say that that has not been what has happened to me in the past. It's just that whatever I had experienced, it was familiar. And this is very unfamiliar territory for me. So it kind of just makes me feel a little bit apprehensive to go right back into that and not knowing if I'm connecting to anything dark. And that's also reminding me of several times that I have heard that, you can't really pick and choose the messages that you get, but you do have to take precautions, I would say, to ensure that you're not really connecting to anything dark. It can still happen. I have said as well that, some of our ancestors were not perfect. So, we can connect to our ancestors and they might not have done the best things in life. So they could be angry with you for absolutely no reason, just like some people have. And referencing back to the gentleman, Cash Peters, he was talking about something else that I've had a deep belief from, not only just from my religion, but also just in terms of I'll say my level of consciousness or awareness. Actually, consciousness, I think you should probably say in this case, that there is like a purgatory. There is like a state where you're contemplating, or you don't want to move on, or you don't want to accept the fact that you're dead. It's kind of like the movie Ghost, where Patrick Swayze has to go through that period where he has to accept that, okay, I'm not alive anymore. I have to go. And I think that there's a point in time, and especially based on his channel, if you want to check it out again, it's called Enlightened Beings, where a lot of times, like he'll depict pictures of the energy work that he's done, And it's showing that the person who has passed on is being encouraged to go ahead and join the global consciousness, or not global consciousness, join the collective consciousness, join God basically. And they're just not wanting to move on. Like, they're not wanting to accept that they passed, or they're contemplating, how did I pass? Or I left so abruptly, or what about my loved ones? And they might be sad. They might be trying to figure out, where am I? What's going on? And I've always kind of had that feeling that that's what happens. Like, you don't just die and then you go straight to heaven or straight to wherever else. It's just that there's a period of transitioning. And that kind of brought me some sort of peace of mind in knowing that whatever information that I'm, I was about to say not tapping into, but recalling, that it's, I guess you could say it's accurate, not just because someone else believes it, but the way that he explained it, it resonated really heavily with me. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that little update, and there'll be more to come. I'm really gonna pray very hard about this, about pulling cards and, that sort of thing, and seeing exactly what I connect to. Not what I connect to, but seeing, how I connect back to reading cards. Because even at this moment, it's like, when I was doing readings, I am very heavily intuitive, and whatever other gifts I have. So the cards really don't really mean anything. It's just a form of like sorting. It's a tool of divination. It's just a form of sorting out the information that's just flooding me. So when I think of right now, like certain cards in a tarot deck, even, I can't even fully remember the meanings, like their given meanings, we'll say. I just usually go off of the images, or whatever I'm channeling will have me focus on certain things in particular, and then there'll be a message within that. So just even thinking about the cards, when that energy wasn't so heavy, I would be able to be like, oh, okay, it's a 5 of swords, or it's a 5 of wands, or a 5 of pentacles, or whatever the fives are about right now, whatever I'm picking up on. Because that part doesn't stop. Like, doesn't matter what you're going through, you're still going to channel something or someone or whatever it is. But yeah, just thinking about, okay, what does the 5 of Pentacles mean again? Like, I can't even remember. If I saw an image, it might draw something, but it's just like, I can't just offhand right now remember what the 5 of Pentacles. I'm trying to even remember the images for some of the decks that I have. 5 comes before the 6. Yeah, I can't even visualize it right now. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Thanks for joining me again and listening. Again, I just share these stories because I hope that it's going to help, others who, are going through something similar, or who might come behind me. That was a little West Indian coming out, come behind me, that might come after me and, need that guidance and that help. Where I really desperately need and want it. So as I learn, I'm sharing. And that's it. Until next time, thanks for checking out the cheat code. I'm out.